You don't have to lie to me. I will lie to myself to fit my own narrative around what you tell me. Okay, so
Thanks for your concern. Welcome back, everybody, to Thanks for Your Concern. You're here with Ella.
and I'm Berenice.
Oh my gosh, you guys, if you're not watching this on YouTube, Berenice is a whole new being. It's giving
Yeah,
alien, it's giving sea mermaid, it's purple.
I know. I'm getting used to it. I definitely was like looking for more of like a lavender, but I do know that like just color in general like really fades pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So I'm not like upset about it. I think after two hair washes is gonna be like the color I want. So this is getting the inkling of I wanted like a color in my hair really badly. I still believe that I wanna have a lava girl moment, like a bright magenta, maybe around Halloween. Maybe that would be like my last color. But I've always wanted to do like really bright colors with short hair. I feel like that's always been the vision. It was like blonde first, and after you bleach everything, you can really start to play. Yeah, so we're there. It's definitely a lot brighter than I thought it would be, but I don't hate it. And now I'm thinking of like I have to do the fun hairstyles now, and we're still what week is the week 3 of being
Mhm.
unemployed. Cute. I have decided. You know how like people will just go on TikTok in the middle of the night and be like, "I'm live doing my makeup," and I'm like, that might be me. But no, things are looking good. I'm following some leads and some fun outfits, maybe for Tomorrowland, maybe for Burning Man. So we'll see how that goes. But how are you?
Yesterday I had I actually hate the term lazy day. I had just a chill day where I like straight up was like, fuck it, I'm not doing anything on my to-do list. Like, we're just gonna chill out. And that's so unlike me because you have really limited weekends. Weekends are a full ass day. You can get a lot accomplished in a
Yeah.
weekend. So like I usually like love the weekends because it's my time to do things that I want to do for like 48 hours. But I was like, fuck it. Let's just fucking chill, dude. And I just had a lazy Sunday for the first time. And I could not tell you the last time I intentionally did nothing on a Sunday. And honestly, it was really good because today I was like, all right, cool. I have to do X, Y, and Z. And I like got on it. So I was like, wow, look at this. Maybe I have been
Yeah.
overlooking not doing anything,
Yeah, I
the
think those
value
days
of
are
it.
so important to just like recharge, honestly. So props to you. I think it's more when you're like used to like wanting to be productive all the time and you take a day off, I think you realize how much your body kind of needed to do nothing.
Yeah. And I mean, my do nothing day, I'm sure people would look but my do nothing day, people would be like, bitch, you did a lot. But in comparison, dude, I've been going to this new Pilates studio
Okay.
and they're like technique orientated, okay? And it's actually been so fun because I feel like I'm like back in gymnastics, like getting coached again. Like it's the something about like having someone give you feedback has been so nice. I've been kind of obsessed.
That is nice. It's nice to
Yeah.
have like a coach, somebody to
Yeah.
tell you what to do.
Like literally have someone tell you what you do. And sometimes like I've taken a shit ton of Pilates, but some of these Pilates and yoga classes are fucking packed. You don't get like any like individual instruction. And so I've just been going to like these like super small Pilates classes where I'm getting a lot of instruction. I'm like, oh my God, I love this. And so now I
Yes.
really see I was like, should I get a personal trainer just so that I have like a feedback loop?
I think it's a good person to keep you like accountable and like work on some
Yeah.
goals and things like that. Like I think people get like life coaches to kind of assess that vibe when they're like not good at like motivating themselves or figuring out like a strategic path. So things to think about. Positive
Honestly,
reinforcements.
I love accountability buddies, you know. I don't know. I just feel like I have a bad taste in my mouth about life coaches because of all the life coaches that I know.
And you're like, I wouldn't have your life type of thing.
Well, I'll just say this: you don't need any certification to be a life coach, and I feel like the word life coach seems like like it's someone you should really Like some people need therapists, not life coaches. Why don't I say that?
And some people need assistants and not life coaches.
Yeah. I don't want to get a hate from the life coach community, but like you just don't need any experience you don't need anything to be a life coach. Like I could be a life coach. Somebody off the street could be a life coach. I don't know.
Your career path. Someone told me I would be a good life coach once.
I
It's because
think we
I'm
should
Delulu.
is that the business model? The thanks for your concern life coach? Leave him. It's just people be telling people to leave their partners. That's it.
Yeah, taking bits from podcasts I've listened to in the past and just repeating what they said. Listen, if you need a little bit of direction, listening to older, like significantly older people than you talk about situations that they lived through that are not related to you is really nice. Because, like, you get their reflection and perspective, and they're not projecting anything onto your problem. So it's like not anyone you know. You know?
Yeah.
Like, it's quite beautiful.
Being around old people is a fucking gift, okay? And just
Yeah.
like this is gonna sound, I guess this is another little update. So I ended up sitting at like a breakfast, like at a restaurant when they have a bar at a breakfast bar.
Hmm.
So I sat up next to this guy, old man. You know, we had a nice little chick chat. It was nice connecting with an older stranger. I do this kind of shit all the time. I don't know why. I think it's just because older people seem like they like I could talk to an older man and I feel like he's not going to get the wrong impression of engaging in conversation. So it feels like a safe, easy way to like just talk to a stranger. I love
Yeah.
talking to old people. I love getting the like, you know, this person was telling me a little bit about Vietnam and like not to worry too much because you know when we invaded, if time in the world feels a little bit like when they went to Nam.
Damn.
Like, don't worry, we got over the Vietnam War. We'll get over what America's going through right now.
But at what cost?
I know. But I was like, oh, that's kind of comforting, right?
I guess. I
Yes.
guess. It is nice. I think sometimes some things about listening to older people is just patterns of behavior. I guess that's also like around the same feeling. But I think like if you're like really noticing like relationship patterns and things like that when you start getting into kind of looking at those, human beings are like so simple. Like there's rarely any one-offs. You know what I mean? Like someone will tell me a situation and I'm like, based on the description of their behavior and some of the things you're telling me about their past, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I could predict how the situation is gonna end and how maybe you can play it if you want to. But and more times than not, it does play out like that just because there's just not that many like unique scenarios in relationships and like unique, super unique wounds, like childhood wounds that like lead to really different outcomes, you know?
Yes, I think that's why the show Couples Therapy is really compelling, is because people can see either A, I've had an experience just like this, or B,
Hmm.
this is an experience I'm in. It's just because, like, yeah, we're all born parents, we grow up, and even though circumstances might be really different, there's only so many possibilities.
Oof. Well,
With that being said,
yeah, we have
I'm
a good
actually really
episode
excited.
today. Yeah.
Good episode. Too hot to tolerate this.
Yeah.
All the ways that I've just decided I'm too hot to tolerate this. I'll start off with hotness is a mindset. You have to come in with the framework that hotness is a mindset because then all of these things that are we're speaking about applies to you. And I just wanted to like touch on hotness as a mindset. But we all create our own realities, and beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And I know this to
Hmm.
be true because in my lifetime, I've seen body and like face shapes and face trends, I don't know, come and go, you know? And in that, we know that like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And so when you're talking about being like the pilot of your own life, you have to view yourself, you're the beholder who should view themselves as hot, beautiful, whatever. And like no one can take that away from you. So if you believe you're hot, then you are.
Period. And
Period.
that's that.
That's
That's
that.
it.
I don't want anyone running their mouth. Oh, this bitch thinks she's a 10. This bitch thinks she's hot. Da, da, da. Yes,
I
bitch, I
do.
do. Thank
I
you.
do.
Case closed.
Point blank, period. There's something that I think about hotness. It's also just like self esteem and self worth in general. Like, when you just know that you're like the bomb diggity, when you just know that like your character, that you're coming up with good intentions and things like that, it like really helps you kind of like set your own bar of what you're willing to take or not from other people. So I think hotness is also just like a journey of like knowing yourself and really knowing your worth.
In your value,
Yeah,
you will be hot to someone, and like valuing who you are as an individual and for your own uniqueness, you're gonna find somebody who likes that.
very true.
So you don't change for nobody.
Don't change for nobody. Unless it's things like you want to work on, that are like productive and good.
But
We all have room for growth.
I feel like changes should come from your values though, and that's like your true self that like you're getting closer to. Because I feel like for at least for me, I've been trying to change a lot of when it comes to, just fucking follow through and discipline and letting myself fail before I like determine it's gonna fail because it's not up to my perfectionist standards or whatever. And so like that's not really me changing, it's more like moving closer to like myself at my core if I wasn't surrounded by self-doubt.
That makes sense.
But anyway, some things I'm too hot to tolerate, and this is just me personally. I'm too hot to tolerate disrespect from strangers. And what do I mean by that? There is like a thin line between like someone who doesn't understand, there's a bad system and someone's not acting in bad faith and people being entitled. No, no, no. I'm too hot to have someone think they're more entitled to me in a space. I'll give you a couple examples.
Mhm.
I hate cutting, okay? I hate cutting. I think it is like one of the worst things a person can do. And for so many years of my life, I would just let people cut me without saying anything. I now say something. And I will tell you, there's a difference between someone just like the line situation's all fucked up. We're at a Trader Joe's and no one knows which line is which. There's a difference between that, but then someone making eye contact with me and cutting in front of me because they think their day was more important. Not me, babes. I sometimes just like to say, fuck me, I guess I'm the asshole, right? See what they say? Come off a little jokey jokey.
Okay. I mean, I have mixed feelings about this because I feel like in day-to-day situations like the grocery store and stuff like that, like I personally wouldn't cut, but I think for like any lines for getting into things sometimes I just blatantly like walk in. Like so I see the line and I'm like just straight walk in. And that takes audacity, but I will say that whenever I do cut, I don't feel like entitled to stay in that place in line. Like I know that I could get called out. Like I very much so know the consequences of my actions. So it's like if somebody calls me out, I'm gonna be like, fair. I wasn't
I
here
did
before
do
you.
that.
I'm not gonna like gaslight you into like, into saying like I was here before you. I don't know what you're talking about. And I know sometimes, like with cutting, I try to not make eye contact because then that's how I'm like, I know they're gonna know if I make myself known. I've also had situations like that where they've told like a bouncer, and I'm like, fair. I understand like
It's
these
been
are
a
the
while since I've
consequences of
tried to
my
cut a
actions.
I it's been a while since I've tried to cut a line in club situation. More power to you if you do that, but not me. I'm gonna call people out. 'Cause I homegirl don't play that no more.
And that's your time. I think that's valid.
I think that's my biggest example. I think the only other time, like, I feel like I'm like too hot to not stand up for what I believe in, and that is respecting customer service and service workers. This has only
Oh
happened about
yeah.
6 times, but babes, we're not gonna be mean to service workers in front of me.
No.
I'm gonna stand up. I'm gonna be like, excuse me, they're just trying to do their job.
Yeah, and this one has come pretty effortlessly to me. I've had situations where even my friends have gotten in a little sass, and I'm like, don't talk to them like that. Like the spirit inside me rose and was like, don't say that to them. But I think that's just like how you treat people you don't know, like in general. Like that's so crazy
Yeah,
that you would treat anyone kind of crazy just because they're like providing a service for you. That tells me how you treat people overall. You know what I mean? Like
I
suspect.
agree.
Good red flag.
And I just feel like you have to be the change you want to see in the world. And like, I used to not stand up for myself because I just wasn't like confident. And like, now I have so much confidence. I'm standing up for other people.
Yeah. And also, I just feel like, at least in the New York sort of like industry, the wealth gap here is like so crazy. I was working in like buying corporate offices, and we go to other corporate offices for vendors, and all like the servers and kind of like lower positions were people of color. And sometimes like how they treated them, or they made them wear kind of like service worker outfits, but you're like in an office. Like, is that necessary? You know what I
Mm,
mean?
yeah.
So there were many things that rubbed me the wrong way. So whenever I caught a sass, I'd be like, let's not. Let's not do that. Honestly, there's some times where I'm like, this person's probably making more money than you are, so you just shut up. Because there's a lot of service jobs and bartending jobs in New York specifically. You're making way more money than most of the people that are working like entry level anything. And those are the people that treat you the worst.
It's really interesting because people like perceive like what they perceive the rank of society is, and like some people just see service workers as like less than, and it's like I
That's
don't feel
crazy.
that way about
Yeah.
anything. Like honestly, good on ya. And I I have so much respect for people who make the world go round because a lot of people I'll talk about my job and they'll be like, "Oh, that sounds so important," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm like."
No.
Importance. I was like, what's really important? Bus driver workers, bus drivers, they're important. We all need to
Yeah.
get places. Baristas, that's important.
Yeah.
Talk about hot people jobs, baristas.
A lot of hot in general people with a lot of service industry jobs. I've had to. Yeah, then my first roommate, actually, she was making probably 20,000 more dollars than I was when I moved here, and she was a server, and she was like, I don't want to quit this job for a corporate job that's going to pay me $30,000 less, and I'm like, don't.
I saw a
You know?
TikTok of this girl and she was like, I just graduated college and I'm unemployed by working this service job. The server job she was working, she was clearing like twice as much money as I was at my first job out of college. I was like, girl, stick with that for a little bit. Don't feel like you're not successful when you're making way more money than your counterparts.
Listen, how you make your money is your business. Okay?
Hmm.
People do some shady things in corporate environments and other environments, and you want to be righteous with it. So how you make your money, that's on you. What you do with your money, that's also kind of on you. Things seem too hot to tolerate. Unclear intentions. Okay, so I feel like we've reached an epidemic of like too many option vibes, and I think this is a clear example of, I don't know if you're watching Love Island right now, okay?
Girl,
Um
I'm not involved in that mess.
I'm in too deep. I got my boyfriend into it, and now it's like the activity we
Hmm.
do.
Right.
But I like, is that just such a clear example to me of what happens, specifically like when hot people are with other hot people, okay? Because you put hot girls who are like trying to be chill from the beginning and be like, yeah, you have options, explore. We're not going to get together from the beginning. And then you have people being like, well, I do like you, but I feel like we should. And I'm like, ugh, unclear intentions. On to the next.
My on my list was unmatched energy, and I feel like it's very much the exact same thing where it's like I'm just too hot to be like trying to grab attention from somebody that doesn't want to give me any of their energy. Honestly, no fucking thanks. And like it's been a while. I've been out of the hookup culture game. But like now
Trash.
I
It's
just
trash.
couldn't do it because I just want equal energy and I don't think you can assess that in a short period of time. Like you can't assess with whether in 2 hours someone is A worth your time and B is wanting to like reciprocate time and effort.
I think sometimes like the physical aspect of like a relationship does create an interesting power dynamic, just because I think women tend to grow more bonds in like a biological aspect to somebody they're like close and like are physical with, while like that doesn't really happen with men. So I just say like, if you want to hook up with people, oh my god, more power to you. Like, been there, done that. I had the best years of my life running around, okay? But what I did
Right.
learn from that is that sometimes when I like was too fast into that, I ended up like almost like hyping it up in my brain when like that person just was not matching my vibe. And maybe now that I'm like a little older and I haven't been as fast to rush into something physical, and you can rush into things physical, A, because you wanted to, because maybe you're like, I know for me, like when I moved to New York, I literally don't like, I could tell you that I went without a hug for like a few weeks. And that was like so bizarre to me. So even when you're
Mhm.
like meeting someone, any sort of like physical connection, you're like, oh my God, yeah, so I would say that if I'm have like a physical connection with you, or maybe taking it a little bit slower than that, if you're not matching my vibe and what I kind of like aspire to achieve with our connection, then I'm just gonna say no.
Let me tell you something. I'm anti like puritanism adjacent bullshit. I don't think how
Yeah,
many people you sleep with or how long you wait has any value on who you are as a person. But I just
right.
remember I was getting a pattern that I was having was like guys being like, you're catching feelings, and I just remember being like, well, I honestly just remember just being like, how psychotic of a reaction because we see each other every other day and we've been hooking up for like 6 months. What do you, of course, I've caught feelings. Like, I spend every other day with you. And then I just realized, oh my God, I'm gonna it was, and to this day, I think it's crazy to do that. And then I just realized, you know what? They're not in it for what I'm in it for. So like I have to like stop this thing where I'm giving so much like love and energy to people who are just not reciprocating it back, and it would destroy me inside when we broke up because it's like I've been like pouring into this person when they have really not been giving me shit.
Yeah.
Nothing in return. My glass is motherfucking empty. And then it's like, okay, well, how can I stop this from happening? I got to make sure that I'm getting what I want out of this, which is like love and connection.
Yeah. And that starts with figuring out what you want from a situation
Mhm.
and being able to communicate that. But yeah, no unclear vibes. If they don't know, maybe just like emotionally check out of that one. You know what I mean? Like,
Also, like, I really hate like the if they wanted to, they would. But sometimes it is kind of that simple. And I heard this story over this weekend where I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to like share this on the podcast. Of like, I think at least for me, I've sometimes like really thought like, what did I do wrong? Or why, or I've made up these crazy stories about why someone wasn't texting me back or calling me or whatever. I was talking to one of my dude friends about dating, and he was talking about how he got so overwhelmed. He was like trying to talk to two people at once because they like matched around the same time on Tinder. And he literally got so overwhelmed that he just like ghosted both of them. And
typical, relatable.
that's so funny because what like I bet one of those girls was like, what did I do wrong? Or oh, like, is he alive? What did he like about me? Yada 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 yada. It was as simple as motherfucker got overwhelmed and decided to like
No,
just
wanting no
give up.
longer to chat. Yeah. Couldn't do it. No more
Just
pen pal ship. I gotta
yeah.
go. Got busy. Yeah.
And so I just think about that where it's like, well, let's make sure everyone's on the same page before I'm too hot for not being on the same page with someone.
And most of the time people will be like pretty frank with what they're at.
Mhm.
I'll say that. Like I don't think you need to go into a situation expecting somebody to like you, but I think that you can go in kind of setting the tone, like this is what I'm looking for. Are you looking for that? And they're like, "Well, you know, I would like to get to know you." And then you can have a period of getting to know each other. But if they're not actually looking for like a long-term relationship and that's like maybe where your vibe's at, to like not entertain other things that are not going to be like there, once you know that that person's out, and either by their words or by their actions, right? And I usually go by actions because actions just will really tell you something about a person, and I think you can assess what you want from those. More times than not they will be honest. I love a fuckboy because they just like tell you, like, they are not lying to you. They're like, I'm a piece of shit, let me show you.
You gotta turn those listening ears on, dude. And they gotta be on all the time. Cause I've made the mistake of like picking and choosing the things I want to hold on to that guy tells me. If he tells
No.
me, you shouldn't fall in love with me, you shouldn't fall in love with me, that's a big red flag, right?
I've been
And
terrible to women. No, I've had men who told me that. Like, I've been and cheated in the past. It was only a few months ago.
We broke up. It was my fault.
Yeah, there's just a lot of things that they tell you. You do need your big girl listening ears on from those. You will get one or two off ones where you get like, I don't even know if to call them narcissists, but it's just like people who want a people please and don't know how to tell you they don't like you. You know,
Hmm.
you get those sometimes, but they
Or
usually
they
tell them themselves too. If things get too serious, they will start self sabotaging because they don't want to be there. So you know that's when you look at actions.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Cause like I honestly feel like we have a lot of I guess people have such bad situations and there's like literally like red flag, terrible guy situations. But I honestly think there's just people who haven't figured the have it perfect yet, which is okay. But going by their actions is better.
Another thing I'm not tolerating, or I'm just feeling like I'm good, playing devil's advocate, mostly in our state of the world, okay? If people are like,
Uh-uh.
oh, you're too sensitive, I'm like, bro, I just like don't think we are understanding it in the same level of depth and compassion right now. And I just like don't care for this. You know what I mean? Why are you trying to trigger me? Like,
I think devil's advocate used to not be as irritating of
yeah.
a trait as it is now
Okay,
because
yeah.
now and also some people are definitely I'm like whose side are you on because why are you pretending to be a why are you like pretending to have like I don't even know how to explain it. It's like why are you pretending to have a view you don't have to have an argument with me if we're actually on the same side, like what the fuck are you doing?
You know what I think? Sometimes when I see specifically, I don't know about women, okay? Sometimes I'm like, girls, you're making us look bad. Let's relax. But with men, sometimes I'm like, what are the back tones of this? You want an argument? Why? You just want a conversation? Are you lonely? Do you want connection? Is this about connection? You need a friend?
Yeah.
Who hurt you?
It's like I think honestly, I know in my mind I have like two devil advocates in my mind, you know? And one of them was like, "Bro, honestly, I just like to fuck with people. Like I like to get people upset, you know?" And I'm like,
Which is
"Bro, what the
crazy.
fuck?"
Which
And they're
is
like
crazy.
I'm like, you know, somebody at like WCU, and they're like, bro, the people get so I can wind people up at parties. It's crazy, and I'm like, that's
That's
like
so
so
manipulative.
crazy. I'm like, what are you talking about? I was like, bro, what? And they're like, I know it's like a really bad habit of mine, and I'm like, yeah, that's a very bad habit.
It's like borderline psychotic, bro. Like
Yeah,
that's not cute. That's not cute. Hee hee ha ha. You just told me you're a massive manipulator.
you know, it's like you like people for fun because it's like funny. That is
Yeah.
such a weird joke. Like such a like oh he let me get them upset and really wound up even though I don't believe any of this.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And then I think there's people who don't know they're doing it and then you could be like, "You know, I think you need to look at that you disagree with everything that I say." And I don't think I'm going to continue engaging with you in this way.
yeah.
And either they'll cut it out or you can cut them out.
Yeah. True that.
I think something I said is like, I'm too hot to drag someone along my life journey or not have real partnership. I think the word partnership gets thrown out a lot. And I had to really like dig deep on like what it actually meant for me. And part of that is just like respecting someone enough to trust their judgment.
Hmm.
I think that one's big for me is that like you have to basically not co-sign every single one of your partner's decisions. It's like you have to trust them that they're going to make their own decision, the right decision. And I have not I've only had that like literally in my current relationship. I think so many other relationships I did not trust that person as far as I could fucking throw them. And it was really evident because I'd get very anxious when they would not make a choice that I would have made. I'd be like, "Why are you doing that?" Ah! It's like, well, okay, because you don't trust this person. That's why you're freaking out and having anxiety over it.
Sometimes I don't even know if it's necessary. Yeah, it comes from a lot of places. I feel like the older I get, you do look like at partnership and companionship different. And I also seen like what you're left with after being jaded. You know what I mean? Because like now, like I'm the problem, and like I know I'm the problem because like I'll react and I'll be like, oh my god. why did I react like that to this like sweet person that's like being compassionate with me? Like truly it's an experience. All right. So I think that's a really that you're trusting someone to make like the best decisions for you and them. You know what I mean? And sometimes
Yeah.
the thing is like those decisions may not actually make you two end up together, but I think that's okay. I think I have let go of that outcome
Hmm.
more because I'm like, well, everybody has to make the best choices for themselves, and if I'm not it, then I'm not it. But I do like what you said.
Yeah, I'm over like moving from like someone being like oh I can build a boyfriend to like no I would prefer someone in a more final form.
Oh yeah, you're
I'm
not
over
building
projects.
anybody
I'm
here. You're not
uh-uh.
raising anybody's child.
No. And I think that I think it's really interesting because I think sometimes it's seen as like, oh, of course you're gonna have to instruct this man through his life. And that's like not true. I think that I've just always been in relationships with incompetent people until you date someone who's competent and then you're like, holy shit, I didn't even know this was an option.
You know, I like to think about it as more compatibility. I feel like I've dated competent people, but I was like compatible with them. One of the things that's like kind of cool about friendships and relationships is kind of like showing people like your point of view on things because sometimes people don't have a specific point of view until you show them what yours is. And I think like that's kind of like the beautiful thing where you can like learn from somebody else's point of view and also they can learn from your point of view. Sometimes the math's not going to math. It just comes down to compatibility, whether you call that intellectual, emotional. There's many ways. There's also a lot of compromise where I'm like, I this person's already grown, so it's like, and I'm not gonna change a lot of their behavior. Like I'm just not. We're gonna have to come to the middle on some things, and it's not something that I'm willing to do. And maybe that's the hardest part for me because I'm like, I don't really want to change my lifestyle to like fit these things. Those are the hard parts about relationships, mostly when you've been alone for a while, where you're like, ugh, I was doing fine by myself, and I have these things that ache me.
How lovely though that you can like know that you're gonna be okay by yourself. I think some people like rob themselves of the opportunity of independence, and it puts them in like holding relationship on such a high pedestal because they haven't been alone and known that they're gonna be okay.
I don't know. I think it's a little bit of avoidant tendencies that I have. It's like, gotta go. I'm fighting my demons daily. When someone's like really sane and you put them up with a crazy person, usually the crazy person is really gonna be like, damn, this person's not reacting like I thought they would. I have the issue. What's going on in here? Which is a beautiful thing.
We
You
love
know
the
what I
growth there.
mean? Yeah.
What a growth opportunity.
Hmm. Okay, my last one is I feel like I've always been this friend, to be honest, and it can be a good or a bad thing. I'm not for everybody, but I just like don't tolerate people lying to me or themselves. Because it's like I'll hear something back and I'm like, well, what you're about to do is not really aligning with what you told me that you want to do. So I'm a little confuzzled because you're either lying to me or you're lying to yourself. Like, where are we meeting in this lie? And it's like, oh no,
Yeah,
I want
I
to
do.
seek connection, but I'm gonna go fuck Bobby, who treats me horribly. I'm like, okay, so but we know he treats you horribly, right? So it's like, is this aligning with what you told me that you wanted? Okay, I'm just making sure. I'm just making sure we both know that because I don't want to play myself. I don't want to play you, and I just feel like we should all be out in the clear here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, mine's related, but yeah, I would say lying. Like that's like in the respect category. You know what I'm saying? But I guess friends is a little bit easier. But yeah, I hate lying. Lying for what?
I haven't had a lot of friends that are like chronic liars, like compulsive liars, just because I find that behavior super weird. But I do have compassion for it to an extent. I feel like if you have to lie, there's probably some like childhood thing that made you feel like you had to lie in order to like fit in or be loved or whatever. So while I have compassion for it, I truly like don't understand it. And it's really hard for me to trust your intentions in friendship if I know that you constantly lie, you know? So I don't
I
think our connection is going to
I
get very far, but I don't think you're a bad person. I feel for you.
I totally agree when you say like how far is our connection gonna go? You're a liar, but it's just hard for me to just like want to trust somebody who I can't. I don't know. I think there's also a difference between. I don't know. Some lies make more sense to me than others. I find it really hard when people lie about little stuff more than like big things. You know, like sometimes I'm like, okay, like you the intention of like, hey, you were trying to save my feelings or you were embarrassed or something, but then there's like little lies where I'm just like, that's weird. That was kind of a weird thing to lie about. And so that just I don't know, I don't believe in like changing people and I also don't believe in like calling people out to a certain extent. I just feel like I'm just kind of too hot for that and I don't want to deal with it.
I get it. I do get that. And sometimes I always say this, I'm like, you don't have to lie to me. I will lie to myself to fit my own narrative around what you tell me. Okay, so
Word.
maybe don't lie to me. And then that way the only person I really have to blame is myself. Like I can't be mad at you if you told me you were gonna hurt me and then you ended up hurting me. You know what I mean? Because like I chose to stay. Like that was my free will. Was that then I can, work on myself because I know I'm the problem. But if you lie to me and now I'm mad at you and I'm not good at letting things go, messy.
That's very funny because I agree. It's like you really
Yeah.
don't need to lie to me because I will lie to myself. So I will
Let's not do
might as well
that.
tell me the truth, you know? And
Yeah.
honestly, I'm the type of person where like I'll be more upset about like the lying than I am about like the thing that happened. Because I feel like it makes like a mistake twice, you know? Because I feel like there's the first mistake that you make, and then lying's like a second. Is like it becomes like a series of mistakes that seem more like a choice than a mistake.
So no lies over here, okay? Clear intentions. Truth. Don't be an
Clear
asshole.
intentions, truth. Don't be an asshole. Be nice to service workers,
Yeah. And then we'll be cool.
right? I'm easy, I'm telling
I'm
you.
pretty easy. Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
standards are high, but it's kind of sad that it's like we're seen as having high standards because we don't like people to be lie or be rude or to be shady.
That's very true. I feel like they change over the years. I think they change more as you get to know yourself and how tired you get. Sometimes I feel like I've become like a bigger bitch, I would say. But here's the thing, right? I think that all the women that I've always had, I guess, surrounding in my life, maybe when I was younger, that had really strong boundaries, I did see them as like quite bitchy per se. But like as I got older, I was like, well, I really respect this person for having strong sense of character.
Also, I think it's like your delivery because I think there is a difference between like I have some people in my life where I'm like, honestly, this wouldn't be a problem if you either A had like a kinder delivery because you want to have a relationship with me, or B, we're just more transparent about what you're feeling because it's like you're people pleasing. So you're like hiding a boundary, if that makes sense. But if you're
Yeah.
kind and upfront and that's perceived as bitchy, then that's what on that other person. I know that I came with the intention of being courteous and just being clear. And I'm not holding things against you because I'm not being clear. You know straight up what the expectations are. And if you think that like that comes off as something that you don't like or is bitchy, that's on you.
I think I've gotten those lately where I'm like, could I work on my delivery? I'm like, it's hard to work on your delivery when someone doesn't tell you. Sometimes I'll like set boundaries with someone and I don't know if my delivery could be better because they don't necessarily tell me. They just go
Hmm.
ghost. They just go, we don't like her. Like she's a bitch. And I'm like, all right, well, like, you didn't give me any feedback to try to make this situation better. So I don't know. It's either my delivery or you just don't understand boundaries. Either one, unless you bring it up to me, that's kind of your problem because I don't know how you feel, you know?
I agree. Feedback. I like a little feedback loop, so I try to give it to other people in a kind, courteous way.
All right, do you have any more?
The intolerance is low, the standards are high. That's how the cookie crumbles.
That is how the cookie crumbles. And the more you stand on business, honestly, I truly feel like people that like want to meet you where you're at, those are worthwhile friendships. Like they'll stick around. You can work things with people. They're just better friendships in general. I think whenever I've come in a little too like everything is fine, those are like the hardest friendships to maintain because they lack so many boundaries and you don't and even when people come up like that too, I'm like, later you feel like they feel a certain way about something you did, but like unless you communicate sometimes like what your stance is on certain things and your prefers, all right? Is it really what we don't tolerate or just like what we prefer in friendship and connection, etc.? So communication on those is important.
Also, for me, my life is like relatively simple. Okay. Like things happen in life that are out of your control. But the things that I do have control of, the my friendships are fairly simple. My relationship is fairly simple. My, family dynamics are simpler because you kind of like cut through the bullshit and live the life that you want to live. You don't have to have the exact same fucking standards as I do. You could not give a fuck about someone lying to you, but but I'm living a life that I really enjoy because I'm really clear on what I do and don't want out of every relationship in my life, including the ones with strangers.
Important.
I'm standing on business.
Figure out your non-negotiables in everything.
Relationship, love, everything.
All right. Well, thanks so much for listening. If you can subscribe, that'd be lit. And you can follow us on Instagram at thanks number for your concern. I'm at Berenice Diaz M.
And I'm at Ella L. Tutor. See
We
ya. Bye.
Bye.